Another day, another creased t-shirt. You gotta love it. Hello my friends, Daniel Midson-Short here, and in this video today I want to talk about how life changes in your 30s as a man. Being a man in the modern world presents its own challenges, particularly if you're someone who wants to grow and evolve and develop yourself. So in this video today, I want to share 6 different ways that I have noticed life changes in your 30s as a man. The first thing that changes in your 30s as a man is that you've already screwed up in a lot of ways. Now you might think, what the hell does that have to do with changing of life? Well, my friend, the benefit of having messed things up in your 20s and your teens is that you finally have some wisdom and some experience, and you're able to learn from that and to grow in different ways. Making mistakes is a great part of life because it teaches you what you don't want, it teaches you how to not do things, and it teaches you very often what you do want in your life. So probably by now in your 30s, you have made a lot of mistakes, whether in a career or relationships or just different things in your life. And now you are finally starting to benefit from those mistakes because you're evolving and growing and developing character as a result. The second life change that happens in your 30s is that friends settle down. I've talked about this idea in other videos, of course, but you've probably noticed that a lot of people around you, particularly after you get to the age of like 33 to 35, they start to settle down a little bit. They buy a home, they get engaged, they get married, they have a baby. All these things start to appear in your life, and particularly in the lives of your friends, and they might surprise you a little bit because maybe you're not at that phase. Maybe you haven't met the love of your life yet. Maybe you haven't bought a home. Maybe you don't want children. I don't know. But you will be surprised by these things starting to change your friends around you. They won't want to go out as much. They will want to focus on their relationship. They'll want to stay home to save money. These are just realities that happen in your 30s and your 40s and onwards. People start to settle down. There is definitely increased pressure in your 30s to start to settle down and be more like the people who have families and have relationships. And you have to decide for yourself whether that's something you want to do at this stage. There's no rule book to life. There's no scorecard. So you get to choose when and how you do these things. But the reality is some friends will settle down when you're in your 30s. The third change that I have noticed in your 30s as a man is that your body peaks. Now, this is bad news, my friend, because your body, if you are in your 30s, is probably at its optimum right now that it's ever going to be. From 35 onwards, your body doesn't react the same way that it used to. It needs more sleep, it needs more recovery time, you probably can't drink as much or eat bad foods all the time. You will start to suffer from the abuse if you keep living the same way you have in your 20s into your 30s. So the ideal situation is if you can get yourself into a reasonable amount of good shape, that will start to pay dividends in the long term. The fourth life change that starts to happen in your 30s as a man is that people take you seriously. Now, in a previous video, I talked about in your 20s how people don't take you seriously, and you've probably lived through many years of that if you're a man in your 30s. But what might surprise you now is that people start to take you seriously. When you're in meetings at work, if you offer a suggestion, people are like, that's a good idea, let's do that. When you talk to other people who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, they just listen to you more. They accept your wisdom and insights, and you feel more valued because you are taken seriously. Lean into it. Use this to your advantage to actually get where you want to go in life, because finally the chips are stacked in your favor and people will start to take you more seriously in your 30s. The fifth thing that changes in your 30s as a man is that you will face real setbacks and disappointments. I'm not trying to say this as a downer. I'm trying to give you a reality check about what happens when you are in your 30s. Life starts to shift because as you are getting older, the people older than you are getting into older age, and you start to become more of a central figure in the family and the community that you're part of, where you are taking responsibility off their shoulders. As part of this, you will experience disappointments and setbacks. Sometimes a business deal won't work out like you think. Very often relationships break down. You get divorced or you break up. These are all realities of what you will experience in your 30s. The benefit of experiencing them in your 30s, however, is that you have the character and you've already lived enough life to realize that you will survive, you will cope, and you will move forward. And the sixth and final way that life changes in your 30s as a man is that life is yours. When you're in your teens and your 20s, very often you are still kind of under the control of other adults, especially financially. But as you get into your 30s, you are completely responsible for yourself. And as a result, the life that you live and the way you live your life is completely under your control and your choice. And this, my friend, is the ultimate reward of your 30s. Life in your 30s is an exciting time. It's a very rewarding time. It's an eye-opening time. And I have noticed as a man that, especially in the society we live in today, there is an impetus for us to keep growing and evolving and developing ourselves. And I think that's a positive thing. I think as men, we've come a long way in the past 20, 30 years. And hopefully, as you grow into your 30s, you will see how much development you've already had and the road ahead of where you can potentially end up.